me and Oscar probably have a similar issue in that we're very outspoken and we do probably rub people up the wrong way sometimes. And the problem in boxing is some people, once you do that, will act off emotion rather than actually in the best interest of the fighter or the sport. I said about Bob Arum the other day, I think actually you could burn Bob Arum's house down and he would still do a deal with you that evening if it was the right deal. Do you know what I mean? And he's very good at that, because I've seen Bob come up to me, cuddle me, and literally 10 yards away in an interview, ruin me, you know? And I'm okay with that either. I think I've learned over the years that, particularly in America, sometimes they don't quite get our sarcasm and, you know, so, but I do think there's a movement now where people are willing to work more, and I think it really comes down to the networks. I think the sharing of fights, as we've seen with ESPN lately and DAZN, makes it so much easier, because we should be doing much more. I mean, we have a very open relationship with Eric and those guys where if a fight makes sense, and it still has to make sense, we're not just, you know, phoning each other up every day saying, oh, come on, like Munguia Ryder, great fight, makes sense for everybody. But there should be no barriers to, particularly us on the same network. But I do feel in boxing now, with that opening up of the platforms, it is easier to make fights. But it's all down to personal relationships, and, you know, when there is peace, I think it is good for the sport.
Oscar, to Eddie's point, when you're trying to make a fight happen, is it challenging to separate the personal from the professional? Because you guys do have cameras in your face all the time at these events, and sometimes things do get said.
Well, it's like Eddie said, the fight has to make sense. And I've been promoting now for 22 years, you know, and the reason why we've been successful is because we make the right fights. And the right fights at the right time. And if Eddie has fights, if Eddie has fighters that make sense to us, to Golden Boy, then we're more than happy to. We're open to making this happen on DAZN. We share the same platform. We should be working together more often. We should be the leaders of boxing and show the world that we want to make the great fights for the fans. That's the bottom line. But ultimately, with my experience, the fight has to make sense.